Right. I couldn't speak the night kids from alone.
What's up, everybody? This is David Flores, the Bike Life Surfer from the 5280 with my guest and co-host. He's not my guest. He's my co-host, man. I started that off wrong. Let's start that again. What's up, everybody? This is David Flores, the Bike Life Surfer from the 5280 with my co-host, the Emperor of Bike Life, DJ Seldom Seen. Hey, Happy New Year, my friend.
What's going on, bro? How you? Happy New Year to you too, and
Oh,
all
man.
of you out there in the Facebook world.
Right. I hope everyone's doing well and has had a great holiday and a wonderful New Year. That's for sure. It's been a it's been a great 19 days. That's for sure. Nice break.
Right? Yeah, I know people been waiting and wondering where we've been.
Yeah. No, we're still here. We just had to, it wasn't me. I'm gonna blame DJ, everybody. I had to give his creative brain a break because, oh snap. Is that a Los Riders Bicycle Club t-shirt I
Oh
see?
man, come on, man.
Oh, wow. What's
Come
up? Big
on,
shout out to
man.
JP and my Los Riders family. I hope everybody's doing well. That is, yep, one of the
Yes,
dopest
you
logos
know it.
on the
Come on.
planet. That stopped me dead in my tracks seeing
Yeah,
that
listen. I
immediately.
can pop my collar. I told you, JP, my dude. We go back like 4 flats on a Cadillac.
Ah, yeah, he definitely is proud of that, man. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's tonight's going to be pretty awesome. We're going to have Marcus Gladney from the Venice Electric Parade on tonight. I'm looking forward to that and stuff.
yeah.
How's your week been? How have you been doing?
Pretty good. Just still recovering and trying to get myself ready for the season and all the events and stuff. So everything is going pretty good, I'd say. You have your ups and downs, but don't we all? you know,
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Um, Yesterday was pretty unique. I was out with, I think I've talked to you about them before because I took King Wayne on it, but I was out with the Old Bikes Club. If I ever talked about them before. Hold on, let me do a little bit of an adjustment because we are live and I don't want to be looking down all crazy so I can see everyone's comments and stuff. Okay. I went out and hung out with Old Bikes Club. I was sorry that I felt bad that I let them down. My All Sport, my 72 made in Detroit, Michigan, Kmart 10 speed, regular old school, you just push your brake back and things stops. Unfortunately, it needs a new hub and it needs quite a few things. It needs some repair. So I took the hipster surfer out, the skinny one, the one I tell you that I should be wearing skinny jeans and have a handlebar mustache. I took that out yesterday, so it was good. We did 17 miles though. I mean, that's one thing I've always liked about Blue. I mean, there's a couple of them in their 70s, pushing those 53s and 40s and 30s bikes out there, just pedaling away. So that was really fun. And then, as you know, I was a fat kid this morning, and I made myself one of those pork green chili soups I like to make a lot. So
did you?
yes, I was throwing down, man. I was throwing down. So, dude, I got quite the month coming up, dude. I mean, we're almost to the end of January, dude. I mean, I guess I'll see you in OBC, but I mean, February, I have an event for 3 days in California. We're gonna have what is it? Critical Mass in LA, and then our good friend Marissa's ride in San Diego, and then I'm hoping to link up with Oceanside or go down to Oceanside with the Schoolyard crew, DJ Riz. That'll be our interview on February 23rd before I go out there. So
Yeah.
I got quite the bit, and then March. I'm trying to stay grounded for that one and stay in Denver as best I can. But I also have, and then we have OBC in April, as you know.
Right.
That's a given. We have that. And then, what is it? May twice, Yuma, Arizona for the Los Riders Bicycle Club reunion. And then as well as Coop Day, Coop
Cool
Week. I'm
day.
sorry,
Cool.
excuse
Yeah.
me. Coop Week. They're putting a lot of thought in that. I want to give a big shout out to my boy E, who's been coming up with some great ideas for that event. I know him with hooking up with G Mob. It's gonna be quite the event. I mean, there's a ride every day. I mean, Coop Week. I mean,
Yeah.
we need to have more of that. You know what I was thinking would be kind of cool? So you know how we have all these bike rides and stuff like that in different states and towns and all kinds of things. It'd be kind of cool if we had like a circuit. You know what I'm saying? If we had a circuit where like the West Coast, like the
Right.
Can-Am, and then like Colorado, like the Rocky Mountain, like surrounding states. Like if we had like a circuit, you know what I'm saying? Like the East Coast. I mean, it would definitely be definitely be awesome to have. I would definitely be with that, if we had something like that.
Yeah, that would
So
be cool.
it would be
Maybe
different.
we can orchestrate it, put it out there in the atmosphere, and see what turns up with it. I mean, because we're tired of the same old anyway. So that's why Cool Week is starting to develop and make it a thing. And we give credit to like OBC and these other big events. Even your events, so to speak, in that essence of it, um, to create different things for everybody in bike life to do. You know what I'm saying? We
Hmm.
all we're all looking for something, you know, to do. That's why a lot of people say, okay, well, I'll go to OBC this year and I won't go next year and stuff like that. I think OBC is definitely um, one that you always want to go to because you get a chance to see a lot of people from across the waters and everything like that. So I campaign for it a lot simply because of that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, it gives everybody the opportunity to meet some of the people that you only see on social media. And I think
Yeah.
OBC is more of the platform to do that versus some of the others because a lot of people spend a lot of money traveling time and they got these expensive bikes and nobody wants, what I'm saying, it's hard to get them places sometimes. So I think
Yeah.
OBC.
I take this idea from a friend of mine who used to do like martial arts tournaments when I was younger. And I remember he would have like nationals and regionals and stuff like that. And so they would travel to like a Kansas and then like a Colorado Springs and surround like a Albuquerque, New Mexico. So that'd be kind of cool if like states would come together and like, hey, this is gonna be like our Rocky Mountain Conference, the West Coast, this is our Can-Am conference or Pacific, Northwest, things like that, depending on what side of California you're in. I think that would be something that would be cool if we could come up with that kind of idea. And then, even like our guest that we have coming up here, even like say like his ride becomes like a World Series, like boom, like we meet out here for a
Yeah,
weekend. Just things like that. Just something different. That's just ideas. I'm always writing
yeah.
down something, jotting it down, trying to
Well,
think
you
of
see,
what we
I
could
made
do.
a plan even with that, with like you said, with Marcus's ride, in conglomerate with some of the other people. This way, they don't have to do too much to entertain us. We come out, we still can get a week full of bike rides by bouncing around, with some of the other rides going on. And then that way, they don't have to have too much energy worrying about, a group, so to speak. And that's something that can happen all the time because they ride all the time. You know
Oh
what I'm
my
saying?
God, dude.
The
The,
Venice
my
Beach light parade every Sunday, bro. That's definitely I'm always logged in and I try to holler. I try to get a shout out to Marcus when I can through some of the people that videoing, but they be on the go. I'm there to support all the time. So
between California, which I've been to, Arizona, Michigan, that I've spent some time in. I mean, these are states that have rides every single day, a ride for everybody. Even in my hometown of Colorado, they have just about, something for everyone, and I think that's cool. We need more of that. Fortunately for Californians, people in Florida and warm places, they get to ride all the time. Right now, I think DJ's under 3 feet of snow. He hadn't left the house in a week you know. So, and then out here, I was happy, like I said yesterday, dude, 65 degrees, and then I wake up today and it's snow. So at least I got some pedaling in. But my
right,
friends, I know my courier friends are out there right now being diehards doing their thing. It is what it
right.
is. I wish if I could ride every day in warm weather, I would, but some of us don't get that luxury. I'm always jealous of my Los Riders brothers out there in Phoenix because they're always on some kind of mission. If they're not riding in Phoenix, they're in Mesa or they're in Cali somewhere. They're just everywhere.
Right. Well, bro, that's why I'm always tuned in on Sundays, man, no matter what. Like whether it's nice or not, I'm tuned in because it's like it gives you that good ambiance of just like, man, what you want to do. Like that's the almost like the end all be all, like the holy grail or the bucket list. It's just to go out there and just ride all the time. I mean, even though I used to live out there at one point, um, it's just still like something to look at, no matter what, So
Mhm.
it keeps me, in hope with all this snow. I'm like, man, I'll be there soon. So
Well, we talked about this earlier, and I'm gonna let you take away with this. I know we wanted to give a special shout out today during the infamous. Go ahead, you take it away, my friend.
we want to definitely first happy Martin Luther King Day to everybody. We want to wish everybody a good Martin Luther King Day. Hope everybody celebrate it in the right ways. If not, do your history on what it really stands for and what it means. You know,
Sacrifices that were made.
yeah, definitely the sacrifices we made. We don't ever want to let days like this go by unnoticed. Especially, I mean, we're blessed to be here and able to do this for people like him. Um, that is another good reason why we picked the right guest to anchor it off as well too. So the stories behind that will be great. But definitely we want to wish the whole Facebook and whoever's watching definitely a happy Martin Luther King Day, Junior Day. And like I said, if you don't know, you need to find out for
Educate
sure.
yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So
Yeah, don't main thing with everybody that's younger, don't stay according to the old history and not the new history that's being changed for what they want it to be. There's always a story behind everything, and that's a great story, unfortunately, with a unfortunate ending. But I know in Colorado they had a very big march today. I mean, gigantic. I mean, it was
oh,
huge.
did they?
Yeah, they did. They
Okay.
would. I mean, you think the bicycle rides were a street takeover? They marched. They definitely marched today. So it was really good to see. I was watching it on the news today. I was a little sidelined today, still kind of recovering, like I said, from that bike ride. But yeah, watching it on the news, I was real
Okay.
proud of my fellow
Great, great,
Coloradans
great.
that were marching, and I know they were doing it in other places as well. But being that said, let's bring the man of the hour on,
Yes.
Marcus, the Captain Gladney, the
Ba, ba, ba,
godfather
ba,
of it
ba, ba,
all.
ba.
Yo,
God,
mic check, mic check. You guys hear me okay?
oh, I can
Yes,
hear you
yes, sir.
great. The godfather of the LED game, the man that put it down himself. How are you, sir?
Good, my man. Good, good. No complaints. How you guys doing?
Oh, I'm doing
Man,
well. Doing well.
pretty
Uh,
good, pretty good. Glad to have you on, man, for real.
oh man, my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, we're glad to have you. Thank you so much for coming on. I thank you. We came on this, we started this podcast. You are interview number 16. 16, we took a couple weeks off. So 17 weeks ago, we came up with this idea, and there's people like yourself, that been in this bicycle game for some time, helping people, taking them on social rides. That stuff is good for mental health and, social interaction. So, there's always a story with somebody on two wheels, hell, even three wheels, as we say. And sometimes you get them crazy guys out there on one wheel. So it's always good to bring somebody on that has a story. So without further ado, DJ, take it away.
Yes, sir, man. So, Marcus, I mean, as you know, I started out as a fan, you know what I'm
For sure,
saying?
my
And
man.
and and, and you know that we met, and I mean, like, I support, I just love it anyways. For a person, even when I say of my caliber, to lend that type of support, then that means you're doing something big for real. And I
Thank you.
mean, I even, I was trying to get you a tire and stuff. You know what I mean? I was
Right,
like, man,
right.
this dude, when I thought about you, I said, man, this is, what I'm saying? This dude is somebody special out here. With the bike life. And I think like with a lot of people when they see you, we all want to know like what's the beginning for you, like far as a kid growing up. How did it all start with you? Did the bike life start with you as a kid, or did you come into it as an adult and then take it on? Like what happened with you and bikes?
Okay. First off, I do have to send a shout out to the Velt sponsor, Jacob and Ronnie. Okay. Jacob is going to be our number one go-to attorney for all of our auto bike accidents here in LA and Southern California. Just had to get
Okay.
that out of the way. Now, man, I've been riding bikes since I was 8. 8. I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, and my parent. Fortunately, I was my parents raised me in the suburbs, and so what we did in the suburbs when houses were still getting built, we rode BMX. So we rode BMX bikes. One of my first BMXs was a rally racer. And so, that pretty much kicked it off. That bike, I'll never forget. I asked my mom, I said, Mom, I want this rally racer BMX. And back then in the early 80s, it was unheard of to spend $800 on a BMX bike, right? My mom says, hey, if I get you this bike, that's going to be 2 Christmases. And from that point on, man, it's always been bicycles.
Right.
Yeah. So, early ages, it's always been BMX.
So you're not from California then, right?
No, I'm from Kansas City.
Right. Okay.
Born and raised.
As I knew, but a lot of people.
Right. Yeah. I moved out here to LA in 2014. So back home, after college, I was a baseball player. So I went to school, and played ball, high school, college, and ended up starting businesses. Life came around, had kids, started some businesses. So I had a janitorial and carpet cleaning. I ran a five van carpet cleaning operation, and then I had 2 flatbed tow trucks. So that was life at home. And I will admit, at that point in time, I wasn't riding bicycles. I was working, running businesses. I didn't get back into bike life until 2014, until I moved to out to Los Angeles, out here.
Okay. Now you're back in business with the carpet stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to plug that in for you too.
Yeah. Good looking, man. That was a little blessing in disguise. I got, so actually everything that comes full circle for me out here in Los Angeles comes from my network of people that come to the bike parade. So, how that popped back off is I had a guy who comes to the bike parade and he says, hey, I am now managing, about 1 million square feet of carpeted commercial real estate. And I know that you clean carpets. At one point in time, you had a huge, a pretty decent sized business. I said, yeah. He said, you want to jump back in it? I was like, well, I mean, yeah, if you're going to give me the contract, done. So that's how I actually jumped back in it. Out here in LA, everything is so expensive. You really got to have money coming in from all angles.
Yeah, I stayed in Sunnyvale, and I stayed on Lawrence Station Road, right there, close by actually my patio. I could see the scoreboard.
Right.
And trust me, that was $2,300 for 1 bedroom.
There you go. And man, when these guys out here, man, with these custom stretches, man, that they got $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 in, that's based on how expensive it is to be out here. They mean business with those bikes. If you spending that kind of money on your bicycle, they mean business.
Right.
Yeah.
David.
Yes, I'm here. Hey, so let's back it up a little bit. So with your bike life, I know we discussed a little bit. So my man here is also been a resident of Colorado in Denver.
Yeah.
Did you do some riding on the pavement out here in downtown ever?
No. So it was in 91 when I was in Denver, and we lived out in Cherry Creek, and again, I was acclimated to playing baseball and trying to get acclimated to the city. And, back then downtown Denver wasn't, I think that was right around the time that the Rockies even started, that was when Denver first got their baseball team. So downtown Denver was kind of grimy. I actually learned how to ski in Denver. So that was what I did in Denver. I dated a girl, her mom and dad had a house in Vail. So that was what I did. That's where I learned how to ski. So no bicycling in Denver. Too much snow. Too much snow.
Right. I'm telling you, I was happy just to score a bike ride yesterday. That was like last minute. I actually went out with a club called Old Bikes Club, and I do have a classic. They usually have vintages, but they were like out there on like 1932 Elgins. Two men. One of them, I believe, 73, and the other one 75, and then the rest of us in our 40s and 50s. But they put in those ride leaders put in like the miles like it was nothing. It was a good and since you're familiar with it, it was like Washington Park,
right?
City Park. I mean, we started from downtown Denver by the new Elitches, and then we made our way, I mean, as far as like Mississippi and Downing area in that Washington Park, and then all the way back up. So it was quite the ride. So when you were there, 91, that was almost like Chauncey Billups era, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was a junior in high school in 91.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think he was a freshman.
Look how old I am.
Yeah, I mean, hey man, we're right there with us. We're
Yeah.
just, hey man,
Well,
as
hey,
a Hispanic,
I graduated that year, so
Okay. Okay. So
yeah.
you got me. Yeah, I was 92. I was 92. But yeah, so I didn't do any riding in Denver. I don't even think the bike scene was really a thing back then in Denver.
no, no. I think Boulder, if anything, but not Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
so you started in 2014, was it?
So moved to Los Angeles in 2014, started the
Mm-hmm.
bike ride in 2015.
Oh, okay, man, you didn't waste any time at all. You didn't
Yeah,
waste any time.
started in 2015.
So
What
when
was
you,
you? Go
Go ahead,
ahead.
guys. Hmm?
I was like, um, when you first started it out, what was like your? I mean, I see your videos and I follow you on a regular basis. I love watching your videos. What did it start before it is now, which is big and known? What was your
Yeah.
like number count in the beginning before it just like it just boom, it exploded?
So so I'll tell you, Bike Parade. Bike Parade actually started, just by me working with the guy named Sebastian. You might have heard Marissa talk about
Yeah,
Sebastian.
that's my guy,
Yes.
Sebastian. Yes.
Okay, so when I moved to Los Angeles, I moved out here with the then girlfriend. She didn't like it. 6 months of being here, she wanted to go back home. So she went back home and left me in LA by myself. So I'm moving around, moving around, moving around, just trying to see where the action was. Ended up in Venice. Ended up seeing bicycles going by at sunset with these wheel lights. I ended up meeting Sebastian, told him my story. Him and I became friends. He was my very first friend in Los Angeles. So I would meet him every day at the beach at sunset to just hang out with him doing wheel lights. What a lot of people don't know is during the day, the beach is tourist. But then sunset, when all the tourists leave, that's when all the locals come out and all the celebrities. And so now I'm seeing a whole different vibe of the beach, a whole different heartbeat of Venice Beach is when that sun goes down because like I said, that's when the celebrities come out, that's when the locals come out. So I would hang out with him and eventually after about a month and a half, he was like, "Look, you're not just going to hang out and not help. If I got 5 bikes sitting here and people are waiting, you might as well jump in and help me install these wheel lights." And so essentially, I became his apprentice. So now we were the light guys. We would show up and people would come get wheel lights. I'm talking about Pink, Rami from the Foo Fighters, Rick Fox. I mean, everybody. And so him and I would hook up lights. And what I saw was people would get lights, but then everybody would just ride off in their own direction. Even though people had the wheel lights, there was still no community. And so about 2017, I think, is when LEDs came out. LEDs came out about 2017 on a consumer level. And the ones that came out back then were just RGBs, red, green, and blues.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever those 3 colors made, you could change your bike. You can get fuchsia out of that and all of that. Addressables weren't out at that point in time. It was only RGBs. And so it was one time Sebastian brought the RGBs from his distributor and he says, "Hey, how can we like implement these lights into what we're doing?" And I was like, "I don't know." I said, "What are they?" He was like, "They're LED lights." And I was like, "LED lights?" I said, "No, I think they're LEDs." And he's like, "Okay, well, so let's see if we can make it work. See if we can, see if we can use it, right?" So what I did was I laid the strips out. Now we're talking about back then. I laid the strips out on my bike straight. I was like, "Yeah, that's cool." I said, "But let me see what it looks like when I wrap it." And that was it for me. And I learned how to solder in 2017. And back then, those lights only ran off of 3 AA's. So what I ended up having to do is figure out a way how to get 12 volts of power to my whole bike with that new technology. And back then it ran off of we ran it off a little brick. It was a little brick, like a little lawnmower battery. And so from that, once I did that, I just said, "You know what? I'm going to start a bike parade." I think he was like, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, I kind of want to start a bicycle parade." I said, "Because I don't see any community." I said, "Yeah, everybody gets lights, but we need to be we need to come together as a community." once a week. He's like, once a week? He's like, you think you could get people to ride a bike once a week? I said, yeah. I said, I can get people to ride a bike once a week. And so what I would do is I would just ride around at sunset every day, showing off my bike. People would follow. And when they would follow, of course, I would lead them back to where we were selling wheel lights, because that was that was like the landing pad. So people would then get wheel lights. And then that's when I would tell them, hey, we're starting a weekly bike parade. So join in. And it's going to be every Sunday at sunset. And so in the very beginning, most of the people that joined were the locals, Venice locals. And so every Sunday it would be Venice locals. And I'm talking about, it would be about 30, 40 Venice locals. And we would do the bike parade. Well, once I saw how people resonated with the bike parade and how everybody enjoyed coming, I instantly said, okay, well, I need to kind of change some things up. I said, because if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to give up my time to lead this bike parade, I'm going to need to change some things up. And that's when I made the decision to make the bike parade a sober event, kid family friendly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so, of course, once I reeled that back in, that kind of killed ridership, because a lot of the locals, most of the locals dropped off because they didn't want to, they wanted to have their drinks. They wanted it to be a booze cruise, and I wanted it to be kid friendly. Something else that I put in place. I said, you know what? Based on where I come from, I need for my bike rides to be all inclusive, meaning people from all over can come and ride in the bike parade on Sundays. A few of the locals, they didn't like that idea, and I'll never forget this as long as I live. I was told, tourists have the beach during the day, let the locals have it at night. And I was like, no, man. I said, I can't. I said, I want people to come from Reseda. I want people to come from all over the valley, San Diego. I said, I want everybody to come. I don't do that whole segregation thing. And so lost a lot of the locals. And so sometimes on a Sunday, it would be just me doing the bike parade myself, 3, 4, 5 people, 6 people, back down to just me and 2 other people. And so to answer your question, once we lost the locals, it was about, I would have like 5 to 10 people
Mm-hmm.
in the very beginning.
Not everyone's going to be happy when you're trying to grow something and make something different for everybody, just
Right.
I like your style on that, how you want it, to be for everyone, not just one group of people. And I think sometimes we've lost our way in bike life because we want it just to be a certain crowd of people, a certain club of people. It should be, it's as Wiggle says, 2 wheels, 1 love. We all should just be having love for the same common interest.
Man, if you're giving up, if anybody, especially at our age, if you have gray facial hair and you giving up time to come ride a bicycle with me, I'm happy to see you. I'm happy to see you, because what I always say, and I coined my bike parade as Belt Flight 333, and I'm the captain. It's like everybody's on an airplane. And I always say, just like they say when you're flying, we know that you have many choices of things to do or airlines to fly. We like to personally thank you for choosing us to spend your time with. Welcome aboard. All that. That's what I say. When I say that, I really, really mean that. And also, when I did switch the bike parade around to being kid and family friendly, that also got me around a lot of the laws, meaning, amplified music. Back then when I started the bike parade, they used to want to give me tickets for amplified noise at the beach.
I know that feeling.
Holding up the red lights. And I actually had to, way back then, the community. So the community, they didn't like all that noise. It was even though it's Venice Beach, they didn't like all that noise. For the most part, Venice is, wacky and grimy, but at night the beach is pretty quiet. And so I had, over the years, man, I had to do a lot of massaging with the residents and with the police, and what I said with law enforcement, because they used to want to give me tickets for holding lights. And I asked them one time, and once I said it, put it this way, I never had a problem with it anymore. I said, what laws of the land supersedes my kids on bicycles?
That's well said. Well
Nothing.
said. Did you ever, with your experience, and I know you said that you've had your struggles and stuff. Did you ever get summoned in by the city ever? Did you ever have any? Did you have any struggles like that?
So my struggles only went as far as Pacific Division, which
Okay.
is LAPD, who manages that part of Los Angeles, and it was always just the regular beach cops that would always want to give me a hard time. And after I made that comment, obviously it went through the ranks. And the last interaction that I ever had with LAPD, um, I never forget the officer said, "Marcus, your bicycle parade has gotten too big, so you can't go down the boardwalk anymore. You have to take it to the bike path." I was like, "Okay, I'm good. I'm good." And that was, like I said, man, that was way back in 2017, same time. And now they embrace it. Now if we're coming down the street and they see us coming, they'll hold traffic for us.
Well, you know what? We have our all three of us. Our good friend Marissa Mays. It says Marcus has been going strong.
Ah,
Yeah, she just left you a comment in
yeah,
the
for sure.
in our comments and stuff like that.
Sure.
So yeah, she definitely has told us about your adventures as well too when we talked to her last.
Yeah,
So
no,
you got to stand corrected on that count of people now. Tell
yeah.
them how many people now that
Now,
on the
yeah.
bike.
So present day, we hit every Sunday anywhere between 200 to 500 people. The largest ride I ever had was about 2,000, and that's when we did a fourth album listening party for Rufus Du Sol. And a lot of people in the Midwest probably may not know Rufus Du Sol, but they're an Australian group, and their music genre is kind of like the um, neo soul
That's
house music.
exactly what is how you describe it. Yep.
That's it. And so they are like the guys, and I'll never forget when Warner Brothers sent me an email, and they were like, "Hey, we have a band that's interested in doing a listening party on your bike parade." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Would you be interested?" I said, "Okay, who is it?" Because my event is kid friendly, so it can't be any band that with a lot of cussing and all blah blah. None of that. They're like, "No, you ever heard of a group called Rufus Du Sol?" I almost passed out. I was like, "Yeah." They're one of my favorite groups. Yes. And so it took about a month to put that ride together, but it was like over 2,000 people. It was like insane,
Yeah.
insane. But like I say, every Sunday, anywhere between 200 to 500 people. I think yesterday was yesterday Sunday? Yes. Yesterday, we had about, I never count anymore. I'm well over 500 bike parades. I don't even count anymore. There's guys that'll count that tell me. I think we had close to about 180 yesterday. Beach was beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Did you get some pizza yesterday?
We did get pizza. Yeah, of course.
Okay.
We got yeah. The grind viewers always hook us up. So yeah, I had a couple slices before I turned it in.
Nice. We have Eric Stieber, one of my teammates from SSB, Sandstone Brothers, is saying, "Bro, I want to go on a Venice bike life ride." That is a gentleman that's a friend of mine that is a mountain biker, and
Yeah.
he's wanting to come out. He has a family as well. He has a daughter and his wife, so I would not be surprised if you see him. He does a lot of mountain biking in the valley and stuff like that, but now we're starting to try to get over to getting him into some of the cruiser rides and some of the SSB. I know some of the SSB people go to him sometimes, but never like as a whole full squad. So I'm trying to push. I'm like, just because you're all on a mountain bike, don't mean you can't go on a cruiser bike ride, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I know he's been wanting to check out some of those rides. He's done some of the street takeovers. I think more of the wheelie boys stuff like that too. Now, I was sitting here on my other screen before we logged on. I was reading your rules and stuff like that too. Do you ever get a nuisance of the wheelie boys acting up on the ride sometimes?
Yeah, it's like
Because
almost
I hear you have a big. I've talked to people in the community and they say you have a big thing for being passed up, and I always think it's the rudest thing when you pass the ride leader.
Yeah. So the thing is, I do, and what we say is we tell them you have to stay behind the music. All the riders need to stay behind the music because in front of the music, I'm giving direction. I'm talking to my guys on the walkie-talkie, right? And I might decide to change a route based on what I see. And because my road monitors are working the crowd back and forth, sometimes they're not in front of me. And if they're not in front of me, that makes me not only the ride leader, but the head, road monitor. And so if I got kids in front of me and I decide to turn right, then, you know, they keep going straight and we turn right. And then, because this has happened in the past to where we've had kids in front of me, monitors, my road guards are working the crowd in the back, and I've made a decision to do, and I do it, I call it a ride reset. A ride reset is when you get too many people in front of you, you turn. When you got too many people in front of you, you change the route. And so then when they look back, the whole ride's going in a different direction. That's called a ride reset. And so there was one time that I did do it, and a couple of little kids, the wheelie boys, they were pretty upset that we switched it up on them. But it's just safety purposes. You know, my route never changes. I never change the route. The route always stays the same for many reasons. First reason is if you're late, you know how to catch up. You know the route.
Exactly.
Second reason is if I'm not there, whoever takes over is a ride leader, they know the route.
Right.
Next reason is we know where all the hazards are. You know where the blind spots are. You know where the cards are going to pop out. You know it. You know, see? So that's why it's very important to not ever change the route. And because of the amplified noise, the route that we go down through the houses, those people are already conditioned to the bike parade.
And they're expecting it anyways. A lot of them be out there waiting. Yeah.
Outside waving and waiting to see us, and zero complaints from the noise. So that's why I never changed my route.
You know, I'm going to be hosting my first event in July, which I'll be sending you an invitation for. I don't know if you'll to make it, but that is one thing that I'll tell you right now. We're working on our Wednesday night ride, and we are working that route. I mean, we're still 6 months away, but we're still working that route till we have it down to a T. So I understand with that. And we want to make sure with the safety thing, and I don't know, like within Denver, Colorado, we're growing so much and things are constantly being changed that we're having to make sure through the winter into the spring that we're making sure we stay on this route, because last thing we want to do is have 70 riders on a ride and all of a sudden we hit a block and have to turn around. Have you ever, in your experience, when you have led these big rides, have you ever ran into a moment where you had to just, I mean, totally on a dime switch it up because either construction happened or something extreme where roads were cut off? How'd you handle that?
Yeah. So the way that it's done is, well, first of all, when I get to the beach, me and my guys, we ride the route.
Okay.
We every Sunday we ride the whole route, just to see if it's construction or if there's something that has come into play that wasn't there last year. But to answer your question, I have a couple road guards that'll ride, especially when we leave the beach. I have my guys go ahead and run the route, and they just radio back. And if we run into generally what stops us would be police activity.
Okay.
Emergency vehicle, cops got somebody at gunpoint. That's happened to us, to where LAPD has, a car pulled over and they're blocking the route. And so I know, of course, everything about me is Venice, so I know all the shortcuts.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just go down. We'll just take a shortcut. If they tell me that, hey, we got some police activity on Abbott Kinney, say, okay, we're going to turn right at California, and we'll just take them around that way. So I got the whole neighborhood back of my hand.
Oh, nice, man. It sounds like you guys are really prepared for just about anything thrown at you.
Yeah, you have to know your neighborhood. You have to know your community, and that's the thing. I know my community, and there's a lot of bike crews out here in LA who don't ride in their community. They would rather come to somebody else's community to ride in. And I just feel that any bike crew that's from a community, that's your community. Create a bike ride for your people, for your community. Give your community something to do. But as long as people are on bikes, man, and that's one thing that I say. I'll say this like every Sunday. All I need is butts on bicycles. I'm happy to see you.
That's awesome,
man. Cap, we don't have lights. We don't have lights. Cap, is it okay? No, you don't need to have lights. Just butts on bicycles. I'm good.
Nice. Go ahead, DJ.
Well, I know you spoke on the beginning with you 2014 or whatnot, but like, have you had any serious challenges dealing with the Venice Beach Light Parade? Getting it started, kicking it off. What roadblocks did you encounter with that, if any, or was there any like outside of the norm?
Well, yeah. So So when I started the bike parade, in 2015, I was new to the beach, and I did incorporate some of the Venice locals to ride in the bike parade, help kick it off. And once I came with the vision, one of the biggest roadblocks was once I came with that vision, a lot of the locals, they stopped coming. They didn't want to be a part of it. And so with that being said, a lot of people left, and it kind of left me with one or two or three people that would show up to do the bike parade. And so what I ended up doing, man, I just kept it going, kept it going, kept it going. Every Sunday, I would just show up. If it's one or two people, if it was just me, I would run the route by myself playing music, and my bike was already lit up. So it was still a spectacle either way. Right.
Right.
And so over the years, as the interviews started coming in, you know, podcasts, a little bit of ad money started coming in. I did have some vintage locals, still to this day, actually, there's still a couple vintage locals that claim that they, helped start the bike parade, or that it was their idea and I took it from them. So that's really, man, that's really one of the biggest hiccups that I kind of still deal with, but it's all good. It is what it is.
Okay.
Now
Hey,
these locals, though, like when you speak of that, because that I see that happening in a lot of places. Everybody's like, it's theirs, it's mine. It's like,
So crazy. It's the
you know,
strangest thing.
and when like you said, when you started it, they left you. Most people left because they didn't like the fact that you tried to include everyone.
From
You know what I mean?
different communities. Yes.
And you think that was probably the main problem of that,
Well,
or
so what it is, they also didn't want to help put in the work. I pushed the boulder all the way up to the top of the hill, and then you know how that goes. Nobody wants to put in the work, but then when it's coming down the hill and you don't even need to touch it because the
right,
momentum is there, then everybody wants to put a finger on it
exactly,
going down the hill. And so, and that was, like I said, that's really been the biggest challenge. And once I made that statement to LAPD, now, like I said, LAPD, if they see us coming down the street, they'll hold traffic. Um, the rookies, the rookies always want to take pictures with me and take pictures, and they really, really, really support the bike parade. City council, Tracy is our city council rep in CD11 out there. She rides in the bike parade. She actually rode in the bike parade before she even became city council. So, it's just a lot of good things,
right,
that I see. And so with all the other electric light parades, good things are happening as well. We just now picked up Los Angeles Electric Light Parade. That one is going to be taking place on a Wednesday. That's going to be a
nice.
downtown ride.
oh
That's going to
wow,
be a downtown ride. So I got a guy that's going to be leading that. He signed up to lead that bike parade. So that one will be something that happens on Wednesday, and that one's going to be more of a faster ride, because one thing that I always want to do again is include everybody. And
Mhm.
so that route is actually going to incorporate Skid Row. Skid Row is where all the homeless people live downtown LA. But guess what? They can use some of that magic too on a
Right.
Wednesday. With us.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah,
a great
all about it.
idea.
Are you going to be on that ride as well?
Yeah, I won't be on it every Wednesday, but I will be on it. I won't be leading it. I'll be riding in it. I'll take it to BMX. I still got I got a Hutch BMX, so I'm all about it. So I'll ride the
Right.
BMX to get some pedal power in on that one.
Man, everything I see you on is fly, bro. You got nothing but some dope bikes, dude. I like your bikes, dude. I'm
Man,
sure. How many do you own? Matter of fact, I always ask this question. How many do you own? How many are active and how many are down?
okay. So all my bikes I ride, right? And so me personally, I have about 4 bikes, 2 e-bikes and 2 pedal bikes. Okay, so that's it. But as far as bikes, like total, I got about 25 bikes because I also rent bikes for the bike parade.
Oh, there you go, Zena. That question just popped up. If there was bike rentals, Zena Dorsey, if you are listening to it, this man has bike rentals and he does food stops. That was a question
For
that was
sure.
asked.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Food stops are generally at the end of the ride, because one thing about it, um, I don't like to stop during the ride. It loses the momentum. I like to, and I don't know if you guys know. So this is kind of where this comes from. I also ride horses, right? And so one thing that we've learned, horses have to have a job, right? And you don't reward a horse until he's done working. So you don't give an apple to a horse until you're done with them and you're putting them back in the stall. And so, and that's how I kind of like to run my bike rides. I don't like to stop and eat and all that stuff. It takes too long. I like to start and finish, and then we eat and reward ourselves after the
Well,
ride.
sometimes you get too damn full and can't ride no more.
That's true.
And then somebody got to use the bathroom, or, ooh,
Right.
and now we done lost somebody, and now they're lost. Hey, so it's just too much for me. I like to start and finish. I don't care if we're riding 25 miles on the BMXs, pedal power. We're not gonna stop. We're gonna ride. You bring your water, because we're gonna be pushing. We're gonna be pushing.
Right.
We're not gonna stop until after the ride.
Right.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. There's a group out here that I hang out with. They're called the Washington Park Cruisers. You would really like them. They put in about 20 miles around town. They're mostly on track bikes and road bikes, so I really got to be on my game. But
Right.
Robbie, the bike leader, he has said it in his own way. It's like, if you want to drink on this ride, that's fine, but we're not stopping. So you're grown. Bring your booze, bring your water, and they usually at the 12-mile mark, they'll do a stop so everybody can
Right.
hang out in the park for a minute and
Yeah.
have their drinks. And then, like you just said, right at the end of it, he takes you to Cosmos Pizza every time. So you
Right.
get one stop, after 12 miles. The last 8 miles are back into the city of Denver, however they plan it. And then it's always that way. I think that's the best way to do it, because, man, sometimes when you're stuck somewhere for an hour and a half and you barely got 6 miles in, it's like, man, I could do
Yeah,
6 miles
no,
riding from my house to the ride.
for sure, man, for sure. And I like, if I'm gonna bring my pedal bikes out, if I'm gonna bring the BMX out, I want to ride it. I'm still one of those off the seat guys. You know what I'm saying? If I
Mhm.
can still, get it side to side off the seat, for a
Right.
whole mile. Yeah.
Mm.
So yeah.
Mr. Howard, Mr. Jerry God's Property Howard, it says, I've been rolling with the captain for 5 years strong since I moved out here from Cali.
Yeah. Well, he's from Detroit, so he moved.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from Detroit, he moved out here. But yeah, Jerry, he lights it up. I remember before he moved out here, he would come out here and jump in the bike parade when he was still living in Detroit. So yeah, Jerry's a rider.
Hey, so do
Yes,
you go to
indeed.
OBC?
I do go to OBC. The first OBC I went to was in 2015.
Okay, we'll get into that in a second. So,
Yeah.
with the exception of OBC and your ride, as we know, is dope as hell. Besides those two things, what has ever been like your favorite adventure with some buddies on bicycles that just stood out, like an adventure, like, shenanigans you guys got into? Do you have anything like that? I mean,
You
there's
mean
always some kind of story.
are we talking about just in my whole lifetime? Because
Yeah,
again,
yeah, like it doesn't have to be it can't be OBC or it can't be
no,
your ride, like something that you just came up with.
I mean, dude, would be when I was a kid, 13, and we rode all the way from South Kansas City all the way to downtown Kansas City.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
that's still one of my most favorite rides, because we were doing it without our parents knowing. And so we had that whole adrenaline, that adrenaline rush of being, way downtown. Downtown Kansas City is First, Second, Third Street, right? I lived way out on 120th. So that tells you how many blocks we had
Hmm.
ridden
Right.
to get downtown. So I'm still always gonna, just childhood is always gonna be like the best rides, because we weren't supposed to be doing that.
Right.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember those days all too well. DJ?
Now that speaking of rides, I know you got the one Tron looking bike. What is it? It's
Correct.
not a Surron or nothing, but I
No,
think of Surrons when I see
of
them,
course.
when I see it. But um that bike also has pedals, right? Because I've
It does
heard you
that.
tell people that
Yep.
you recommend getting something like this
Yeah.
because it also has pedals.
Right.
So you pedal that as well, then, right? Or you?
So CyberX is built down in San Diego, and that is made by my buddy Ali. And if you've ever been to San Diego, Ali is the one that builds pedicabs, and all the pedicabs that run around downtown LA with the LEDs. That was his business. So when he would come up to participate in the bike parade, he told me, he said, Marcus, he said, this is amazing. He said, what you created is amazing. He says, I want to create an e-bike off of the inspiration here. I want to create an e-bike. And he says, I'm gonna have to crowdsource. And if I can raise $2 or $3 million, I'm gonna build this bike. And so, and that was like, I don't know, when did he say that? Maybe like in 2018, 19, something around that time. anyways, it took him about 2 years to raise enough money to produce that bike. And when he produced it, I ended up, of course, getting one of the very first ones. And it's one of the funnest e-bikes that I have, because it's essentially an electric motorcycle, but it has pedals on it. So you can pedal it. So with that's that gray area that gets you
Right.
around.
Yeah.
They're cracking down on those Ciron bikes. If you don't have pedals on it, they're taking those bikes from you, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Well, with CyberX, because it has functioning pedals. Now, it's geared really, really low, so you can move it 100 feet, but it ain't gonna really get you somewhere if it dies, right? The bike weighs about 300 pounds. So,
Right.
with that particular bike, 100 miles to a charge, and it'll do about 75 miles per hour. So
Oh,
Yeah, I
it's
see.
just,
I like
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
That
So
what is that ride that you guys do? Because y'all go up in the I ain't gonna say up in the mountains, but y'all go up some hills,
in the hills,
stuff that yeah, in the hills. I've
yeah,
seen that
Hollywood Hills.
ride.
Yeah. So there's so many rides, man. Any of those rides. So in the very beginning of the bike parade, there wasn't a such thing as an electric bicycle. So people who showed up to the bike parade were all on pedal bikes. Okay.
Right.
Big Red that I ride, my parade bike is a pedal bike.
Yeah, you be pedaling the hell out of that motherfucker.
Pulling a 100-pound trailer. So that bike,
Yeah.
with all the LEDs on it, that bike weighs 90 pounds, and my trailer weighs 100 pounds because it has car batteries in it.
Right.
Oh,
So,
wow.
that's all leg power. And years ago, I used to do a Hollywood ride. I would do a Friday ride called Freaky Fridays, burning the midnight oil. And this was about 2018. I did a Hollywood ride, and we would meet over in like off Western, and we would ride all the way Hollywood Boulevard, all the way to Beverly Hills, and we would drop down to Melrose, ride Melrose, and then ride back up La Brea to Sunset. And I
Man.
was pulling, not Sunset, Hollywood Boulevard. So we would ride all the way up La Brea back to Hollywood Boulevard. And my first bike, pedal bike, and I was still pulling a 100-pound trailer. Talk about a workout, man. That ride was treacherous. That was a treacherous ride. And I did that ride, man, for almost a year. So I'm all about pedaling as much as I can.
Yeah.
But with that e-bike, that's the best way to get around LA. With
Yeah.
that e-bike, even though even we call it an e-bike, but it's like I said, it's an electric motorcycle. I can get from where I live over here in like West Hollywood, Beverly Hills area. I can get from over here to the beach, no matter what time of day, in 12 to 15 minutes. Because here you can split lanes.
Right.
Mhm.
Remember?
Yeah, we have that here too. We just got that rule law going.
Yeah. So traffic means nothing when you're on two wheels.
Right. And shit, you could put 3 people on that damn bike with you, man.
Yeah, he made a bench seat that fits 3 people. I've done it many times.
With that electric motorcycle you have, my boy Eric Stieber's asking, does it have a throttle?
It has a throttle, like a motorcycle throttle.
Oh, you hear that, Eric? He says he has a motorcycle throttle type
Yeah,
on it.
No thumb throttle on that one.
Hey, so being the OG rider that you are, you've been there, done that, pedaling and everything. At first, when the inception of e-bikes came out, were you anti?
I was. I definitely was, because everything to me is about community and also health and wellness and exercise. I want people to exercise. And what it did was, now, I feel that e-bikes make people lazy. It makes people lazy. And it does. It does. It really, really does. And so when e-bikes first came out, um, they were faster than us pedaling, and I really had to reel a lot of those people back in. But even then, it was the only people that could really afford e-bikes back then were people who had a little bit of disposable income, because when e-bikes first came out,
They were expensive.
they were expensive. They were like $5,000. And if you pulled anybody to pull it up on an e-bike, generally they were in their late 50s or early 60s with disposable income back then. I'm talking about e-bikes. The first ones came out in 2018, 17?
Yeah. 17, yeah.
Yep. And so they were $5,000. And so I was just kind of like, oh, okay, And then as they became cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, people started jumping on e-bikes, and now we got a whole bunch of throttle kings. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Again, as long as you're outside and you're supporting somebody's ride and you're actually outside, is you know, I don't have a problem with it.
I seen I had heard I was told the story, I had read it, that there was two 70-year-olds out on e-bikes, rising amok, having fun, acting like kids, and some track boys, on their single speeds and fixed gears were giving them a hard time. And they're like, "Why are you messing with us? We haven't rode bicycles since the Reagan administration." So it's like
Right.
if you can't be happy for somebody on two
Yeah.
wheels just out there with the social interaction, you really don't have a soul. I always love like referring to that. When I first got into it myself, I had just a regular Trek mountain bike, and then I built my first kit bike, and then
Okay.
it's just kind of like I have a very like bright light as well that I used to use the product CC LED, but my frame is broken down. Getting a new paint job, getting ready for OBC, so I'll be having Marissa's lights on that bike when
Okay.
I
Yeah.
when I see her. So I'm looking forward to that. But I also from Black Cat Customs I have my first custom bike coming, so I'm gonna do something really like I'm gonna do something extreme with the lights on that one. So it's
Yeah,
just
that'd be amazing.
it's funny too because we have the Denver Cruiser ride here as our Thursday night ride. It's our big community ride, and they have the drone footage all the time.
Yeah.
And my colors are always I'm always known for silver and orange. So it's funny they have the drone up there, and I've got all four strips on both wheels, and then I
Yeah.
got the frame thing. So you just see whoa, you just see me like pretty much like something out of Tron as well.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I always think the brighter, the louder, the better.
Yeah.
Just
For sure.
it's there. And man, sometimes I love it when I pull up on somebody that is playing like 90s hip hop, the good stuff from back in the day, and so it's always good. Sometimes it even turns into a salsa dance because somebody's playing some good Latin music. I mean, it's just always great with the music that goes on.
Right. And seeing and the genre that I play. So in the very beginning of Bike Parade, I used to always play like R&B. That was what
Hmm.
resonated with a lot of the locals in Venice is R&B. They're all about the old that old lowrider music is what I call it, right? And
Hmm.
so as the years progressed, that music didn't really fit with the new people who were coming. And what I found out because I try to have everybody play kid friendly music. Of course, it's hard to do when you got people in the back and they're playing music with curse words in it. But I found out that house music is the best music to play on a bike ride. Is house music because 126 to 128, well, 126 to 132 beats per minute is natural cadence is the natural cadence. And so when people are listening to the music, is they automatically move with the beat. And that's the speed of my bike ride. Anywhere between 126 to 132. And so house music is what works for us out at the beach.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like house music on a good ride too. I mean, it makes you relax and just chill. I definitely agree with you on that. There's a couple of rides out here that be doing some house and trance and stuff like that as well. So
Yeah.
several riders. So
As long
yeah.
as it's got a good beat, like you said, like you really just get into the rhythm more so than what's playing because sometimes there be some bullshit playing, but the beat just
Right.
be going and you just going with it, like so it's
Right.
it's almost like a natural high because you
Yeah.
know how you see people in the club and they're drunk and they just go, you fall into that when you listening to music. Like I don't care what it is, if
Yep.
somebody listens to it and the beat is just you just going with it. You just,
That's it. That's it. On
so
that on that
that's the trick.
on that bass drop, that's what I tell people. Because I meet a lot of people that'll come as guests and they'll say, "Hey, I haven't ridden a bike in like many many years." Say, "Okay, well, you're going to need to keep up with the cadence and just pedal when the bass drops. Every time you hear a kick drum, just make sure that you're going around and just control your breathing." And everybody always says at the end of the ride that they're like, "Marcus, that was perfect. I stayed with the cadence of the
Yeah.
music, with the beat of the music, and that kept me in cadence, and I was able to like stay with the bike parade and not get left behind." So music is very
Nice.
important.
Yes, very nice, nice. So let's speed it up to your experiences at OBC. When did that all start?
Man, that was like 2015. 2015 is when
Every year?
I haven't been every year. Haven't been every year. OBC. What happened was, of course, me and Sebastian were selling wheel lights, and Mike Krieger is one of the original riders. And Mike said he had hit us up, and he said, "Hey, there's this bike convention type thing happening in Vegas, and it's called OBC." You guys should go there to try to sell some wheel lights. And so I didn't know anything about it. Sebastian didn't know anything about it, but I'm always down to go to Vegas. I got an aunt and cousins that live in Vegas. I was like, let's go to Vegas, see what it's all about. And I will tell you, in those first years of OBC at the Golden Nugget were like jaw dropping. I mean, bikes all in the hotel, people
Right.
everywhere, and people were wanting the wheel lights. That was when Marissa had kind of came up. I didn't really know Marissa that well at that time because she was doing her thing down in San Diego. So after that first OBC, that's when we pretty much connected, and she reached out to start San Diego Electric Light Parade. But man, the bike that I had at the time, it was the one with the original RGBs on it. And if you go back in some of that history, I might even be able to pull some of that stuff up in some of those archives. I rode that bike with it on flash mode. And anybody that was at OBC, that 15, 16 year, they will tell you that Marcus was riding around on a bicycle that almost gave everybody gave almost everybody seizures.
See,
Because what I did was I put it, you either had red, green, or blue, right? And if you sped up the transition colors, it flashed. It made it flash. And so that bike was like a flash. And we
A
would
blur.
do
That was the nickname. It was a blur.
we would pull up the light on the strip, and people were like doing like this because my bike was so bright. I even was having to like look away because it was about to give me a seizure. But the people who did OBC in those early beginning years, they should remember that me on that bike.
nice.
OBC is a blast. I do like it better when it was at the Golden Nugget though.
This will be actually my first year. I missed the last 2 years. The first year I was supposed to go, I got into a collision with another e-bike, so I was laid up for like 9 months with a knee injury. And then my last year I was supposed to go. I had moved back to Colorado from Michigan, and it just everything all at once, and then moved in my place. And 8 days later, OBC wasn't going on. But this year we're locked and loaded because we're going to be doing some interviews there and have a tent set up. So this will be. I know OBC will be DJ and I's first appearance with each other, but we're planning. We want to start going to different rides as well with people so the community can see us together and stuff too, because we're going to keep doing this for a while.
Yeah. No, OBC is fun though. Like I said, the beginning years were a lot more authentic and a lot more fun. To me personally, OG bicyclists, yeah. But even now, they're still fun. I mean,
I think outside of what you said, I think the best year was 2 years ago.
Okay.
You would agree, because I think the energy was so, like, that year was so vibrant and big. I don't know if that was the year I took that selfie was behind me or not. I can't remember, but I think it might have been that year.
Yeah. No, man, that and that was a fun year too. That was definitely a fun year. But I mean, if I had to pick, it would definitely be those beginning years at the Golden Nugget. Because they allowed Golden Nugget, they allowed everybody to bring the bikes in, and because it was such a huge casino, you really didn't even have to leave. And and the pool parties were really good with the big fish swimming around. So, but OBC, again, hands down, I'm going this year. So I'll see you guys, and we do what we do, pedal power.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I really am looking forward to that. I'll be there Wednesday night. I won't be there in the morning, but I'll be there in the nighttime, ready to ride. So I know Detroit with E is going to be running a truck service. They're going to stop in Denver and pick up my custom, so I can not have to worry about that. So I'll just basically like leave work and fly right out. So I'm looking really, really forward to it and stuff. So do you with California being as big as it is, sometimes do you ever make an appearance in Northern Cali or anything like that?
So you know what? I have not ever been to a ride in Northern California. That is on the bucket list to do. So that is going to be happening. That is definitely going to happen. I've been invited multiple times. So I am going to make that happen.
Is that the bike party, the San Jose bike party, or is that something?
Yeah.
So you got to let me know, because see, that was my area. You know what I'm saying? Like, like I said, Sunnyvale was like 15 minutes away from San Jose, so that's like right there.
Right up there, for sure.
But everybody talks about it, and I'm like, man, it's like, I'm so surprised that y'all haven't like I've witnessed it. I never rode in it, but I witnessed it. But they party like at the end of the ride. They really like it's really like it's so nice, and it's unbelievable. So yeah, if you ever go, you have to
I'll
definitely
definitely
let me know then, because I'll come. I'll definitely
I'll
come.
definitely let you know, because those guys, they've actually came down to Venice multiple times. So I do have to, go up there and pay homage to them. So it's definitely on my to-do list to get up there and ride with those guys too.
Yeah, those
Nice.
guys really do it. They do it big for real.
I know the one that I've been wanting to get onto in Northern California because I used to live in Sacramento when I went to college, but I want to go to Justin Kim's when he has that invasion up there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I just saw him and his other half yesterday. They were in town for the McCargy ride, and they just now did the Velp ride yesterday. So I got footage I need to edit and post here in a little bit. But yeah, they're great people, man. Great
yeah, I'm
people.
looking forward to that. He's actually we're on the West Coast for here for a little bit. He's actually our next interview next week. We'll be
Okay.
interviewing him
Yeah.
from Northern California. So, we spent quite a bit of time in the Midwest. We spent some time in Arizona, and now we're making our way to the West Coast and stuff like that. Kind of like, there's so many places that are the Mecca. There's just everybody has their own flavor. With their
That's it.
creativity and their bicycles.
Yep. Everybody has their own flavor. Everybody has their own community, and that's just my thing. Like I said, I'll say this until the cows come home. I just like to see people, based on the community that you're from, create. You can't cut to the head of the line. It ain't no shortcuts in this.
Right.
It ain't no shortcuts. I don't
Right.
care what your bike looks like. It ain't no shortcuts. You got to
Right.
put in the time, and you have to massage your community. That's your community. You have to give your community something to do. So, we got, we're going to be rolling out Santa Barbara. We're in talks to do Santa Barbara Electric Light Parade. So, of
Nice.
course, shout out to San Diego, Ventura. We got Hawaii. And then, like I said, Los Angeles is going to be on Wednesdays. And then in the works, we got Santa Barbara Electric Light Parade. And these are people that have all reached out and said, hey, we need to bring this magic to our community.
Right.
Can you help? Can we be a part of the family? Of course, let's do it. Let's do it, because at the end of the day, to me, it's about just people on butts on bicycles, and then the kids. The kids. It's all about inspiring to me, inspiring tomorrow's leaders. And then you think about it. Think about what you guys did with your people, with your old man, with your mom when you were growing up. All we have are those memories, right? So
Right.
10 years ago, when I started the bike parade, I got kids that were 3 and 4 riding in the booster seats on the bikes. Now these kids come to the bike parade and they're 14 and 15. Some of them are even 16 with driver's license, and they're still, riding bicycles, and like showing me pictures of when they first came and they were like toddlers. It's mind blowing. It's mind blowing. But guess what? It's those memories that we've helped them create, and that we've created with them. And so now, when they're 50, they'll say, hey, this is what we used to do when they're talking to their grandkids.
Right.
We used to ride bikes with the captain, and everybody would have lights on their bikes. And so that's what fuels me, because people ask me all the time, why do you do this? How do you do this? How do you do this every week? What drives you? What fuels you? I'm like, seeing the smiles on the faces of the kids and the people who come, who give up their time. That is worth its weight in gold when people give up their Sunday to come ride the bicycle and the bike parade, and the route never changes, and it's the same thing.
And that's why I brought up that particular OBC, because you're right. I said the same thing. It's definitely different from what it once was, but it just seemed like that year you almost didn't know if you wanted to just video it or be a part of it. Like,
Right.
And at the time, I was hurt, so I was on my trike anyway.
Right.
So I was walking no way,
Right.
so I wasn't going nowhere.
That's
But
right.
it was still like, it was really cool. And I think that was the year too. Remember when we were going towards the Spear, and you seen all of the one wheels and stuff on the other end of the road coming back? Remember?
Because of those one wheel boys was in town, and they was
Yeah.
going, it was like 1,000 of them going the other direction.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was like the energy of that, and they was doing their thing, they was doing our thing. It was just
Right.
and that was the beauty of it. I think that's what I liked about it, because they didn't bother us, we didn't bother them, but
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, that was a great ride, that particular ride. So
That was a magical ride, and that was a magical time at OBC. It was cold. It
yeah,
was cold. Remember, it was freezing.
yeah, man, it was cold as all
Freezing.
get
It was
out.
freezing.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
but that
that's
was that was their 10th anniversary.
yeah, yeah. It
That
was
was the
freezing.
10-year. That was the 10-year anniversary. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, it's good times though, man. Yeah.
yeah.
So and then with us being only 4 hours from Vegas, is really no excuse not to go to OBC. So yeah, I'll see you guys there. I'm gonna be on the B. I won't bring the big bike. I might bring the big bike. I might bring it just for one ride. But generally, I'll be on the BMX.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, because you
You know,
didn't come last year.
I didn't
Because I
come
had the
last.
hat for you. I had
Yeah,
the.
yeah, and
I
that
still
hat
got one. Huh?
it's too small for me, man. I got all this hair. That's
Man, I got one downstairs for you now.
I got to put it on the puppet, man. I got the puppet, man. The little captain got to wear those hats. My head's too big.
I really got to give you props, man, between yourself, people like Marissa Mays, DJ Kid, just stuff that I've been reading and following online, DJ Kid Riz from the Schoolyard. It is really good to see that there are people out there in the bicycle community that are focusing on the kid rides, not just making it a 100% booze cruise. I have to respect that. And then the people that do the kidical masses as well. We have one in Colorado that I just found about. I think we get away from the traditional, going on a bike ride, enjoying ourselves like that. Because some people, it's just like, don't get me wrong, I have drinks when I'm on rides too, but it
Yeah.
is better to be in like a family oriented environment sometimes. Like in Colorado, we have this one. His name is Mr. Bike Night. He is actually the oldest and has been going strong for 25 years. And it's cool to see that. It doesn't always have to be about the next person getting wasted on a ride and drinking. It's better to have a more of, a family fun environment versus, I mean, some of these rides I've been on, and I'm sure you guys have both seen it, where there's always got to be that one or two riders that are just getting way too drunk when it's
Yeah.
supposed to be a fun ride. But, I really admire you, dude, keeping the kids involved in that.
I'll share something else with you guys too. So, my the everybody that helps me with my road monitors, everybody that helps me with the bike parade, they're sober. Okay, they're sober. There's an AA chapter somewhere close to Venice Beach, and what I found out is they tell their people, go to the bike parade, go to the Velt bike parade in Venice. It's a sober event. And so what happens is people will come up to me who I don't know, and they'll say, I'm 2 years. That's how I know that they're from AA. And I'll tell them, welcome to the Venice Electric Light Parade. You get to ride right here. I had this one guy last week. Hey, I'm 12 years. That's the code. I know that AA group sent them to the bike parade because my event is a sober event. I said, congratulations. Thank you so much for being here. You get to ride right here. And what I do with those guys is I put them up close to me so that they could, feel the magic, feel the energy, and know that, I appreciate them, And so that's the magic for me. That's what makes me tick when stuff organic stuff like that happens. Dude, it like puts a knot in my throat to know that that the bike parade, that we're really helping people. Really helping people. You have no idea, during COVID, I had to actually, what they did was they closed the beach, they pushed sand on the bike path, they were giving tickets, nobody was supposed to be at the beach, right? I had people during COVID reaching out to me, ready to take their own lives and just needed to just go on a bike ride. Probably about 6 people during COVID. I had to personally go to them and, come on, let's go for a bike ride. Let's talk about it. I'm doing exactly what you're doing. I don't know what's going on, but we're gonna make it. So the bike parade, it's a ministry. I mean, this is what I've been told. This is Sunday service after Sunday service, and so I'm very adamant about keeping the integrity of what I created the same. A lot of people will call me an asshole. You'll hear that. It'll be some people who there's a bunch of people actually who don't care for me because you run the bike parade like a business. Now, not that I run it like a business. I run it with integrity because you guys you don't get the emails, you don't get the DMs, you don't get all that where people are coming from their heart telling me how the bike parade saves them and how they look forward to Sundays. So guess what that does? When you get those kind of messages, man, it makes you go to bat for these people. And so, yeah, if it's nonsense happening, I don't stand for it. I don't stand for it because I know for a fact that there's people here that are here for more than just a bike ride.
And
You
that's
know,
deep, man. That's deep.
it's so deep, man.
Wow,
I'm
that's
telling
deep.
you, I always have to tell my mom this stuff. You know, the stuff it comes through and it's so heavy. I have to call my mom, legit, and tell her. And she says, "Well, obviously, Mark. You know, I go by Mark. So obviously, Mark, you're doing what you're called to do." I said, "Man, Mom, it's so heavy. It's heavy." I had a couple that was ready to ordain me as a pastor to marry them on the bike parade. You know how heavy that is?
That's pretty deep. Yeah, that's great. That's beautiful. That's beautiful to be asked that, you know, that's beautiful.
I mean, I had already started the process, but the husband had actually they ended up getting married somewhere else, but they got transferred. They got transferred, but this is the kind of stuff that comes across my plate to where I'm like, whoa,
Right.
yeah. So I mean, again, man, so it's all about integrity, man. Whatever you do, if you're a ride leader, I'll tell this to all the ride leaders. You are responsible for your people, and if you're the ride leader and if you're the president of your club or if you're the ride leader, you gotta do this stuff with integrity and
Right.
because these people are looking at you as leadership
Right.
and because you're changing lives. I mean, you're changing lives and you're helping people's heartbeat.
Right.
Yeah. So
Well, we have Marissa's made, there's a couple comments in here for you. Marissa's giving you some big props. She says, you cannot keep doing it this long like Marcus. You got to run a tight ship. And yeah, that's what you do. You run a tight ship. And
you
there's
have to,
nothing wrong with what you're doing. I mean, hey, there's a reason why we have rules for certain things that are fun,
I
you
mean,
know.
you have to have rules because people, people are looking for the exact same experience every time that they come. Every time that they come, they look for the exact same experience. And again, w- people will say, we don't like rules. Yeah, you do. There's rules. Everything we got rules.
Right.
Everything. There's rules. Rules is what makes the world go round. We may not
That's
like,
what keeps us. That's what
yeah.
keeps us locked in. We locked in that way. It's
w-
yeah.
without rules, we have chaos.
Right.
As
And
as we
Right.
all as,
and,
as
and
we all know, right, that's happening right now. It's
right.
chaos.
And unfortunately, like people like you, me, we have to have that integrity and that good ethic uh to make it happen because in the asshole name will be floated around. People will not like a lot of the things, but
And
like
it's
you
okay.
said, just
It's okay. It's
yeah.
okay because like I've been told many times, if you're not doing something right, if people don't like you,
Yeah, that's the
That's
truth. I understand what you're saying on that with like people having opinions like, this is my fourth year, and I have a lot to learn. And DJ's been doing this just as long as you have. I'm about to have my first event and I'm kind of getting blowback from the community in Denver, like it's not going to work. Nobody's going to show up. But like the Midwest is on board. People from Arizona are showing, promise of coming and stuff like that. You can't build something if you don't try it,
I
and
mean,
that's
again,
my thing.
if you build it, they will come. They may
they
not
Yeah.
come.
will.
They may not come right away, but it's all about a consistency. As
Hmm.
long as you're consistent, they will come.
And they see you. They see you. They see
Yeah,
you.
just very consistent. Yeah, they will
Yeah.
come. They will come.
Yeah, definitely trying to make sure um I include everybody. Like, everybody from the Denver community is welcome to come. Everyone from out of state is welcome to come. It may say Midwest Invasion, but hell, we would love it if you made a guest appearance on one night, or if
For sure.
Marissa shows, like I said, and you're familiar with Colorado, so like Wednesday night we'll be launching from the Brown Palace. You remember the Brown Palace in downtown Denver?
No, I won't.
Okay,
I
well,
don't.
it's like right in the heart of downtown, which
Okay.
will be doing about a 10 to 12 mile. That, that one will be a booze cruise. Thursday night is going to be our Denver Cruiser ride, which is ran by Brad Evans. He got to do a soft meet and greet with Detroit E and Sweet Lou Whitaker from out that way. And then on Saturday, Friday night is going to be we're still working on that, but Saturday we're planning to do a ride on the Clear Creek Trail where we're going to take the light rail all the way to Golden, Colorado and
Oh,
ride the Clear Creek Trail all the way back to downtown Denver, which is about 17 miles, but it's all just kind of downhill.
yeah.
So
My grandmother, man, used to work at the Coors there. So
I did too I did there for a hot minute too. I was there for a minute. That was a
yeah,
great place to work at.
man, I can remember being on I-70 and knowing that when we were by that place because the air started smelling like beer.
Yeah, it still does. It
Yeah.
still does in place. And that'll be
Yeah.
cool too because the route that we have planned out, you pedal for a minute and then we get on the path and then there's a spot where we all stop at this bridge before you like do the drop in where it gets going quick and stuff. And
Right.
all you see is just Coors Brewery just as far as you can see. So I have some great things lined up and I'd like to personally invite you and I'll send you a flyer as well.
Yeah, send
But
it to
yeah,
me.
it's July 8th through the 13th we'll be doing it. And it's during the well, we've been having this I think since '86 we've been having it, but it's the weekend of the Black Arts Festival.
Oh,
So we're gonna have something really planned for that on Friday night. That's where we're working on that ride, where it's gonna be through the city, and I'll have road captains where we park the bikes and we're watching them so people can walk around and see the art. And then on
oh,
Sunday, I plan to send everybody off with a big barbecue at City Park, where they're also gonna be having the Black Arts Festival and jazz in the park at the same time going on. So I have quite the like little event, that I'm planning to do, but it's time to bring something to Colorado because we're equally as beautiful as other states and we have a wonderful bike life. So I can't wait to get everybody out. So
yeah.
DJ, we're about coming up to an end. Do you have any other questions for Marcus? Or Mark,
Nah,
I'm
not
sorry.
at all. I mean, other than I'll be in touch with him. I'll just outside of that, just um, what do you have coming up outside of? I know you said you had the other rides and stuff, but what's coming up for you
So,
next? What you doing next?
well, we got so you guys probably saw that we did the Tron event.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hmm.
yeah. So that event went over really well, and so I have a team that work on my collaborations. I don't like talking numbers. I don't like dealing with money. I don't like doing anything. I just want to show up in the outfit and do the bike ride, right? So the movie studios liked what we did, and some of the other ones took notice of that. So what we got coming up is not confirmed yet, but we're gonna do some more movie promoting, some more movie premiere type of uh, themed bike rides. So that's what we got coming up in the future.
Okay,
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, so I was telling you, I will be out there the 27th through the 2nd at the end of February. Are you going to do LA Critical Mass by chance?
So Critical Mass is always on the last Friday of
Yes.
the month,
Hmm.
and I've done Critical Mass 14, 15, 16. I kind of jump in from time to time. I only go to Critical Mass if a special person is in town, or like if you're going to be in town, I'll come to Critical Mass and ride with.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just so
that's how
you
it
might,
works.
I'll give you my schedule for that weekend. So I'm gonna be, and I'm up in the air for Sunday. I'm not sure what's going on yet, but Friday I'll be at Critical Mass with Marissa, and then
Okay, yeah,
Saturday I'll be at her event as well. And then Sunday I'm not sure if I'm gonna be in Oceanside, California or not. So my Sunday day is kind of open, and I know
okay.
what you got going on too. But yeah, I would love to be able to see you there. And yeah, I'm starting to do this. It's the fan in me for everything. So everybody that I ride with, I'll be bringing one of their flyers so I can get your John Hancock on there and a little bit of a
Sure.
signature and
No,
stuff like that too. That's going to be one of my things I'm gonna start doing. And don't worry, DJ, I'll be sending you one too.
I was
So
about to say because
no, it's
I was gonna try to make it, but I don't know if I'm gonna make it. I'm trying to get myself ready for OBC mainly. So if I can, I may be there too, but I'll let you know.
yeah. So we're definitely. So here's the last question, and I asked this question to everybody on the podcast. If you could say one thing, one message, state to state, city to city, and across the pond, and to just all humans in general, what would it be?
and I've said this a few times already. Just ride ride with integrity. continue to change lives, focus on the kids. You know, they're our tomorrow's leaders, and you know, get out and just, you know, get the heart pumping. You know, if you have to ride an e-bike, okay, but if you're capable of riding a pedal bike, get out there and get let's get the heart pumping. You know, I'm all about that. You know, I'm all about that. And guys, just that's it. You know, just enjoy life, and let's just butts on bicycles. We're outside. We're outside.
Nice. Thank you so much, Marcus. This has been an awesome interview with you. I appreciate you so much coming on. Just give us a second. Hey, everybody, this is the end of the podcast. Bike Life 5280 Talk with my man and co-host, the Emperor of Bike Life, DJ Seldom Seen, and the Godfather of it all. Thank you so much for coming on. Stay on 1 second. Don't hang up yet, just yet. I'm going to end the podcast. We're still, whoops, here we go. All righty.